Hello to all my transplantees who are planning to travel internationally, especially to Mexico City. Welcome to my video. My name is Naya. I am a year and 10 months post double lung transplant. I recently just came back from an international trip to Mexico City with my husband and his family, and I wanted to do this video to help other transplantees who are well into, I guess, their post-transplant or even pre-transplant, if you want to try to get a head start on figuring out how to handle traveling internationally, and make sure you are pretty much prepared. So this video is pretty much going to be like a tip slash advice type of video, and pretty much everything that I did. I see a decent amount of people asking about travel tips post-transplant, and sometimes what I see is like people talking back to when they had traveled like 6+ years ago and they had the transplant whenever, which is cool, but I feel like there's not a lot of young people like myself, because I am 28, gonna turn 29 soon, who talk about what they kind of do, or when they do talk about it, they kind of talk about like the worst like case scenario and their struggles, which is good and informative, but it's a little scary, and I feel like I want to do a video where it is kind of straightforward and will hopefully be useful for you. So I have at least 5 tips, advices that I want y'all to consider, or however you take on this video. So my first tip advice is to talk with your team. Before you get too in-depth into my video or go into the rabbit hole of asking people via Facebook, Instagram, however, talk with your team first. That is the best thing you can do. They're gonna know you better than I do, anyone else do, because we're all gonna talk about our own experience, and everyone's experience is completely different, especially when it comes to transplants and everything like that. So I say talk with your team first. Get their input, get their advice on traveling to other countries and stuff like that, because they seen you on your journey and they will know what's best for you. They'll probably even do some tests for you to make sure you are comfortable. Like, for example, I didn't do it, but I did do it. I didn't do it post-transplant, but I did do it pre-transplant back in like 2020, 2021, where I did a high altitude test. You can't ask about that. I asked my team post-transplant if I had to do that before I tried flying. They said, oh no, you're fine. My lungs are pretty much good. So that's one thing to talk about and consider, is probably doing a high altitude test. Ask your team, see what they say, and kind of go from there. I feel like that's like the best and main thing that you need to do. People be like, yeah, I talked with my team and I'm waiting, but I feel like you talk with your team first, then you ask other people's advice and kind of go from there. So that is like my main big emphasis, is to talk with your team. Get off this video if you have not, and talk with your team, please. That is like very, very important. My advice number 2 is to do all of your blood work, x-rays, CT scans, function tests, if you can, before your trip. I say within a week to a month out of your trip, you should do these things. For example, I left kind of in the end of December, so I did the x-ray, CT, function test like the beginning of December, end of November, beginning of December. And then I did my last blood work literally a week before we left. That gives enough time for your team to see results, to get back with you if something is amiss or anything like that, and to show like how you're doing before the trip, so that they kind of like tell you like if something happened in between or anything like that. That is like the best thing you can do if you can. If you can't, just do it just as close as you possibly can. My third advice is to make sure you have all and enough medications. I don't have my pill organizer to show you guys. Maybe I can kind of like show right here. I have the pill organizers that they gave me. It's like a 7-day one. So what I like to do is I fill the whole thing up with all my meds, and then I take that into my checkout bag. And then what I like to do is I take 2 days worth. So like the day we're flying, so let's say for example we're flying out on a Tuesday, I'll take my Tuesday meds and I'll take my Wednesday meds and put it in my personal bag, so I don't get stopped on TSA. I'm not 100% sure if you get stopped if you bring all your meds, but just so I don't have to deal with the headache of it all, I do at least 2 days worth, and I put everything else in my checkout bag. And I also pack my extra pill bottles in a Ziploc bag. So obviously if I'm there longer than like 7 days, I'll have enough meds to take with me. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? And then another thing that I did that my mother-in-law had told me I should probably do is to have like a doctor's note. So I messaged my team within like 2 weeks, but they got it back to me like literally before leaving. They gave it to do a doctor's note about my medications and my like history, I guess you could say. I was gonna print it out. But I was gonna print out two, one to put in my checkout bag and then one to put in my personal bag, but I didn't have the time, so I just had it on my phone, but I had it like where I could easily access it. So if I did get stopped by TSA or whatever, customs, whatever, it was like really right there on my phone. So that could be another consideration depending on where you're flying to, is to have a doctor's note about your medications and why you're taking those medications, especially with the whole like prednisones and stuff like that. So make sure you do that. My next advice for you guys is I pack the essentials. So by that I mean is obviously your medications. I did bring my spirometer. My husband made me bring it, and I'm glad that I did because I did quite a bit of walking. And Mexico City is high altitude. It's actually higher than Colorado. I did not know that. So that was a little fun fact for you guys. And I know the air pollution wasn't the best, so I make sure to bring like good like face masks. Let me see if I have some right now. So I have these. Maybe if I could find my Amazon link, I'll send it to you guys. But I have this mask. I usually always have it with me, but I packed like a whole bunch just in case. I brought like mini hand sanitizers. I had the little the disinfecting like mini spray. I brought that with me. I brought disinfecting wipes. I brought regular wipes. I brought anything to help minimize like sickness and everything like that, and to somewhat help with the air quality, since Mexico City air quality is not the best, and my in-laws did not have like a humidifier or anything like that. So I did that, and I think I did really good. Like the first few days I did wear my mask, especially because we were kind of in crowded areas, but after a while I felt a little bit more comfortable, and I just kind of stopped wearing my mask, especially because we were walking a lot and I was getting like a lot of like out of breath. So but I felt like because we did a lot of walking and being in high altitude, I felt like I did a lot better in Mexico City breathing wise than I do here in Florida. Like landing back in Florida, excuse me, I think it was the humidity and everything, but it was just like, I don't know why, but it felt like it was harder to breathe here than it was like in Mexico City. And you do a lot of walking because everything is literally like down the street, or there's like a lot to see compared to here where everything is like far few in between. So that was like a really good thing, and my spirometer numbers were going high up. Usually I've been very consistent in the between the 1.50s and the 1.80s, maybe more like 1.70s, and I was getting as high as like 1.80s, and then I got to my highest, which was like 1.91, but that was like coming back after doing all that I did in Mexico. So I think that's like pretty cool. And so like make sure you pack your spirometer. I'll show you guys what the spirometer I use, and I'll probably try to link it so you guys can bring it with you. It's like super portable. It's easy just to throw in your purse, bag, whatever you carry, and that's really it. I feel like that's like the most pack essential you need, other than obviously like the disinfecting items. And my last advice that I can, other than, you know, the talking with your team, I feel like this is like the most important. Don't overthink everything and just enjoy the trip. Have a list of things you want to do, activities, sightseeing, museums, and enjoy yourselves. Don't overthink about the crowds. Be mindful of where you're going, what you're interacting with. Stay a good distance on things if you can. If you're going in crowded places, don't overdo it. Just go with the flow. Obviously avoid people who are sick if you can, and just stay on top of it, and just, like I said, just don't overthink it. I feel like that's like the most stressful thing, is like, especially when I see in these like Facebook groups when people are asking advice and questions and stuff like that. Most of the time I think, well, you should be asking your team, not like a whole bunch of random people on the internet. But I see a lot of people overthink and overstress like the simplest of stuff, and complain about the simplest of stuff. And it's like, you do not have to do that. You do not have to make things harder on yourself than you really need to. Maybe it's the youthful spirit in me, but you just have fun, you guys. Like, seriously, like, have a list of activities to do that you know you're gonna enjoy, and just do them. Don't overthink about the crowd and is it sanitary. Not every place is going to be 100% sanitary. Like, for example, they say the hospital is like one of the most like nastiest places to be, but we have to recover in one. So there's worse places to be than where you're planning to travel. And just like I said, just enjoy yourself. Like, I know I sound very repetitive, but it's like really stressed. Like, I'm trying to get y'all to realize, like, don't overthink it. Don't, like, that's all I see. It's just a whole bunch of complaining and this, that, and the other. And it's like, come on, people. Just enjoy yourselves. Don't overthink it. Talk with your team. Hear what they have to say. Put it into consideration. And literally go from there. That's the best advice that I can give. If y'all want a part 2 and have like specific questions, I will be happy to answer them. You just let me know in the comments, or if you prefer to message me privately, you could go into my LinkedIn, whatever. I have it in the description, so you can message me on Instagram. That's actually the best way to message me. I will respond better there. And yeah, also gonna be posting my sun-kissed travel around Mexico City, so be prepared for those videos. I will be uploading them very soon. So that's all I really have to say. If I sound very repetitive in this video, it's because it's a lot simpler than it may seem, and it's just probably a lot of overthinking on your part or whoever you're with part. It's only complicated if you let it be complicated. The most you could get out of this video is to talk with your team and enjoy yourself. Take precautions, but enjoy yourself. Okay? And that's all for today. I'll see you guys in the next videos.